Lillian, did you make a mistake with your application? The homeroom teacher held up a printed version of my application form, furrowing her brows. I stared blankly at the unfamiliar school names on the form. How could this be? I had clearly filled out Tingshui University's computer science department. Why was it now showing as a third-tier teacher's college? This couldn't be. I had filled out Tingshui, but before I could finish my thought, I noticed Jason turning his face away awkwardly. In that instant, everything became clear to me. 18 years of growing up together. And it turned out that in his heart, I wasn't even worth a finger compared to Sophia. The day the Gaokao scores came out, I had scored first in the city, 748 points. The entire school erupted in excitement. Teachers surrounded me, asking questions, while classmates tossed me into the air in celebration. Jason stood on the sidelines, his smile strained. I pushed through the crowd and ran up to him. Jason, I got 748. He paused, then hugged me. You're amazing, my little genius. But his hug was light, brief, as though he were merely checking off a task. That evening, we filled out our university applications together. My first choice was Tingshui University's computer science department, while Jason chose the local finance university. Why didn't you apply to Tingshui? With your grades, you could easily get in, I asked, puzzled. Jason ruffled my hair. I don't want to be too far from you. Besides, the finance department at Finance University is great. My heart warmed. I felt like the happiest girl in the world. My childhood friend, the boy I had grown up with, was giving up a better university just to stay close to me. How romantic. After finishing our applications, Jason said he needed to go to the restroom. I didn't think much of it and continued checking the details of different programs on the computer. About 10 minutes later, Jason returned. Is it done? He asked. Yeah. It's submitted, I said, clicking the confirmation button. Satisfied. At that moment, I had no idea that my life was about to be completely rewritten. A week later, the homeroom teacher called me into her office. Lillian, did you make a mistake with your application? She asked, holding up a printed version of the form. Her brow furrowed. I looked at the contents, and I was stunned. First choice, Teachers College. Primary education. Second choice, Teachers College. Preschool education. Third choice, Teachers College. Chinese language and literature. All of them were teaching-related majors. No way. I almost shouted. I filled out Tingshui Computer Science. The homeroom teacher sighed. The system shows this. And the modification period has passed. My mind went blank. Tingshui's computer science department, it had been my dream since I was a child. I wanted to become the best programmer and create software that could change the world. But now, my application had been sent to a teacher's college. Teacher, there must be a system error. Can I apply for a correction? The homeroom teacher shook her head. It's locked now. It can't be changed. And although your grades are excellent, this is the only option available now. I slumped in the chair, my mind a jumbled mess. Who had changed my application? Only someone who knew my password could log into my account. And the only one who knew my password was Jason. I thought back to that 10-minute period when he had gone to the restroom. I remembered his anxious expression as he filled out the application. I recalled the way he had been avoiding eye contact with me these past few days. All the clues pointed to one person. Jason. My childhood friend. The person I trusted the most. The boy I thought I would spend my life with. He had stolen and changed my application. But why? Why would he do this? I rushed out of the office, running straight to Jason's classroom. Finished chatting with some classmates. But when he saw me burst in, his face went pale. Jason, come outside. My voice was calm, so calm that even I was afraid of how steady it sounded. He followed me to the stairwell, head lowered, not daring to look at me. You changed it, didn't you? I asked. Jason trembled slightly, still saying nothing. Jason, talk to me. I grabbed his arm. Why would you do this? Finally, he lifted his head to look at me. His eyes held a complicated expression I had never seen before. Lillian. I couldn't help it. What do you mean you couldn't help it? My voice was rising. Do you know what Tingshua means to me? Do you know how many years I've worked for this dream? Jason's eyes reddened. I know. But what? He closed his eyes, as if making a huge decision. Sophia. She said if you went to Tingshua, we'd be completely done. Sophia. Our class's literary committee member. Beautiful and academically talented. So that was it. Jason liked Sophia. And I was just his shield. So you changed my application? You ruined my future? My voice was soft, so soft it felt like a feather. But when Jason heard it, he began rumbling. Lillian. I'll make it up to you. I'll make it up? I laughed, tears welling up. Jason. Tell me. How are you going to make up for my dream of over 10 years? How will you make up for Tingshua? Jason opened his mouth but couldn't speak. Yes. Some things, once lost, can never be regained. I wiped away my tears and looked at the boy who had grown up with me. Jason. Let's break up. He suddenly looked up at me. Lillian. No. We can start over. It's too late. I interrupted him. From the moment you changed my application, we were already done. I turned to leave, but Jason grabbed my wrist. Lillian. Please. Give me one more chance. I turned back to look at him. The boy crying like a child. Jason. Some things, once done, can't be undone. I shook his hand off and walked away without looking back. Behind me, I heard Jason's heart-rending sobs. But I didn't turn around. 18 years of feelings, just like that, ended. And my life, from that moment on, began to follow an entirely different path. When I got home, I locked myself in my room. Mom called me for dinner, but I said I had no appetite. Dad knocked on the door and asked what was wrong, but I told him I was just tired and wanted to sleep. I wasn't tired at all. I just didn't know how to face them. How could I tell them that their daughter, who scored first in the city, was now going to a third-tier teacher's college? How could I tell them that their daughter's dream, the one she had held since childhood, had been destroyed by the person she trusted the most? I lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind a mess. My phone kept ringing. It was Jason. I didn't answer. Later, he started sending text messages. Lillian. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Please pick up my call. We need to talk. I can help you transfer schools. I really can. Lillian. I truly realize my mistake. I read these messages with no response from my heart. If apologies meant anything, why would we need the police? So what if he knows his mistake? Will my Angshui University still come back? I turned off my phone and decided to think carefully about what to do next. The admission letter from the normal university arrived soon after. Mom held the letter in her hand. Her expression conflicted. Lillian. Didn't you say you wanted to apply to Tingshua? What's going on? I took the letter, which was addressed to the primary education major at the normal university. I changed my mind at the last minute. I lied. I thought being a teacher might be nice. Mom clearly didn't believe me. You've always said you wanted to study computer science. How could you change your mind all of a sudden? I lowered my head and said nothing. Dad sighed from the side. Forget it. The child has her own ideas. The normal university isn't a top school, but being a teacher is a stable profession. But she ranked first in the whole city. Mom was a little agitated. Isn't it a waste to go to the normal university? High scores are in the past. What matters is the future, Dad said, patting my shoulder. Lillian. Since you've chosen this path, you should walk it well. I nodded, but in my heart, I thought, I had no choice. This path was forced upon me. For the next few days, Jason stood outside my building, waiting for me. I watched him from the window. He stood there from morning until night. Sometimes it would rain, and he still wouldn't leave. Standing in the rain without moving. Mom couldn't bear to watch anymore. Lillian. Did you and Jason have a fight? That kid's been standing outside for days. I replied expressionlessly. It's nothing. Just a small disagreement. Small disagreement? Mom frowned. That kid looks like he's lost weight. What's really going on? I didn't want to worry my parents. So I said, Mom, don't mind it. We'll work things out. But I had no intention of working things out. Some wounds can't be forgiven. On the 7th day, Jason finally left. I thought he had given up. But 2 days later, he appeared again. This time, he wasn't alone. He brought Sophia with him. I saw them standing together outside from the window. Jason was saying something to Sophia, who looked at him with an innocent and pure expression. Then, Manhattan Malsai. They walked toward my building. Soon, Manhattan Malsai. The doorbell rang. Mom went to answer it. And I heard Jason's voice, Auntie. I'd like to see Lillian. Sophia's sweet voice followed. Hello. Auntie, Helen Sophia. I'm Sophia. Jason's classmate. Mom let them in. I sat in my room, listening to the conversation in the living room. Auntie. Lillian's been feeling down lately. I'm really worried about her. Jason's voice sounded sincere. Is it about the school choice? Mom asked cautiously. No, it's because of some misunderstandings between us. Sophia's voice came through. Auntie. It's actually my fault. I sneered. They sure knew how to act. What misunderstanding? Mom pressed. I didn't know Jason had a girlfriend before. I misunderstood him. But now I know the truth. So I came to clear things up. Auntie. Could you please ask Lillian to come out? I want to apologize to her in person. Mom knocked on my bedroom door. Lillian. Jason and his classmate are here to see you. I took a deep breath and walked out. When Jason saw me, his eyes brightened. Lillian. Sophia also flashed a radiant smile. Lillian. Hello. I looked at them, feeling an intense sense of irony. What's this about? I asked coldly. Sophia stepped forward. Lillian. I want to apologize. It was my fault earlier. I misunderstood Jason. And it caused problems between you two. What problems? I asked, pretending to be unaware. Sophia blushed. Well, I thought Jason liked me. So what? So, I made him do things he shouldn't have. I bit my lip. Regretful. But now I understand Jason only has feelings for you. Such good acting. If I didn't know the truth, I might have been fooled by her innocent expression. Well, I'm glad you understand now. I said coldly. Unless there's anything else. You can leave now. Jason was anxious. Lillian. Let me explain. Explain what? I interrupted. Explain how you changed my school choice to pursue Sophia? Explain how you betrayed the 18 years of our relationship? The room went silent. Mom stared at us. Shocked. What? Jason changed your school choice? I nodded. That's right. My first choice was the Tsinghua Computer Science Department. And he changed it to the normal university. Mom's face changed instantly. Jason. Is this true? Jason lowered his head, not daring to speak. Sophia, standing beside him, feigned innocence. I didn't know it would turn out like this. I just said something casually. What did you say? I stared at her. Sophia's eyes turned red. I just said that if you went to Tsinghua, Jason and I wouldn't have a chance. And then? Then Jason. He said he could make you stay locally. Mom's face turned pale with anger. Jason, leaked you. How could you do such a thing? Jason looked up, his eyes full of regret. Auntie. I know I was wrong. I'll find a way to make it up to Lillian. Make it up? Mom's voice rose. How are you going to make it up? Do you know how many years Lillian worked for Tsinghua? Jason burst into tears. I really know I was wrong. Please. Give me one more chance. I looked at the crying Jason, my heart full of no sympathy. Jason let out a low sigh. I've already given you chances. 18 years. I gave you countless chances. But you chose to betray me. Lillian. And looking at Sophia, I added, since Sophia loves you so much and is willing to ruin my life for you, then you two should be together. Sophia's face went white instantly. Lillian. You misunderstood. Jason and I didn't. Didn't what? I sneered. Didn't like each other? Didn't secretly flirt behind my back? Or didn't team up to ruin my school choice? Sophia was speechless. Unable to respond. I turned to Mom. Mom. Let them leave. I don't want to see them anymore. Mom nodded. Jason. Sophia. You can leave now. We need to think this through. As they left, Mom sat on the couch. A worried look on her face. Lillian. This. Should we consult a lawyer? I shook my head. It's useless. Mom. The system's password was something I told him myself. Legally, hadn't fulfilled my session. He hasn't committed any crime. Then what do we do? Just let it go? I took a deep breath. No. Of course. I couldn't just let it go like that. Life at the teacher's college was even more boring than I had imagined. The courses in the primary education program felt like child's play to me. I could finish an entire semester's worth of material in just 3 days. My roommates were all curious about why I chose to come here. Lillian. I heard you're the top scorer in the city. Why would you choose our school? I always responded calmly. Some things are just beyond my control. They assumed it was because of my family's financial situation. So they didn't press further. I spent most of my time studying computer science on my own. Since I couldn't study at Tsinghua, I would learn it myself. I spent hours every day in the library. Sometimes more than 10 hours at a time. From basic programming languages to advanced algorithm design, I devoured the material piece by piece. Soon, I discovered that I actually had a natural talent for it. By the second semester of my first year, I was able to write some simple programs. In my second year, I started taking on freelance projects. I developed websites for small companies and created small programs for individuals. The pay wasn't much, but at least it proved my abilities. Meanwhile, Jason was desperately trying to find me. He changed several phone numbers to call me, but I blocked all of them. He left messages on all my social media accounts, but I deleted and blocked him on every platform. He even found my high school classmates and asked them to convey his apologies. I replied to them all with one word: unnecessary. In the second semester of my sophomore year, I heard that Jason and Sophia were together. This information came from one of my roommates, who had a friend at Jason's school. She said that the guy had dumped his childhood friend for a girl and now regretted it, trying to win her back. But the girl wouldn't respond. My roommate didn't realize that the childhood friend she was talking about was me. I just responded with a quiet "oh." Jason regretted it? Good. But that was far from enough. In my third year, I participated in a national programming competition. Representing the teacher's college, I secured third place in the entire country. This achievement caused a stir in the school and earned me some recognition in the industry. Many companies started taking notice of me, sending internship offers. Among them was the Quinn Family Group. The Quinn Family Group was a well-known tech company in the country, specializing in artificial intelligence and big data. Their CEO, Quinn, having fulfilled my session, was only 28 years old. But he had already led the company to become one of the top 3 in the industry. When I received the internship offer from the Quinn Family Group, I was ecstatic. This was the closest I had ever come to my dream. On the day of the interview, I dressed up carefully. I wore my prettiest dress and applied light makeup, hoping to leave a good impression on the interviewers. The Quinn Family Group building had 30 floors, and I took the high-speed elevator to the 28th floor. The receptionist guided me to the interview room. Please wait. CEO Quinn will be here shortly. CEO Quinn? Was the CEO personally going to interview me? I felt a bit nervous as I silently reviewed the possible questions in my mind. 10 minutes later, the door opened. A young man walked in. He was tall, handsome, and wore a perfectly tailored black suit, exuding the air of a successful person. Hello. I'm Quinn. He extended his hand. I quickly stood up. Hello. CEO Quinn. I'm Lillian. The moment we shook hands, I felt his hand warm and strong. Please. Sit down. Quinn sat across from me. I've seen your work. It's impressive. Thank you. But I'm curious. With your abilities, why did you choose to attend a teacher's college? He asked directly. I had been asked this question countless times, so I had a standard answer ready. I find the combination of education and technology fascinating. Quinn looked at me, his gaze sharp, as if he could see straight through me. Is that really the only reason? I felt a bit uneasy. Is there another reason? He smiled. Lillian, I've looked into your background. Top scorer in the city. Showing a natural talent for computers from a young age. Someone like you wouldn't choose a teacher's college as their first choice. My heart skipped a beat. CEO Quinn. I don't understand what you mean. Someone has hurt you. Hasn't she? His voice was soft, but each word hit me like a hammer. I kept my composure on the outside, though my mind was reeling. I don't know what you're talking about. Quinn stood up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. Lillian, do you know why I wanted to interview you personally? I shook my head. Because I've been through something similar. He turned to face me. I understand what it feels like to be betrayed by the person you trusted most. In that moment, my facade nearly crumbled. But I forced myself to stay calm. CEO Quinn. I really don't understand. Alright. Since you're not willing to speak about it, I won't push. Quinn returned to his seat. But I can offer you this internship opportunity. The condition is that you join my company after graduation. I looked at him in surprise. Really? Of course. But there is one condition. What condition? You must use your real abilities to prove how foolish those who hurt you were. His words struck me like lightning. CEO Quinn. I can offer you the best platform, the best team, and the most cutting-edge projects. Quinn's voice was firm. But you have to promise me that you won't let your past shadows limit your potential. I looked at him, the young CIO. This stranger who seemed to understand me so well. I promise you. Quinn smiled. And that smile was warm, reminding me of the sunlight from long ago. Then, welcome to the Quinn Family Group. As I walked out of the Quinn Family Group building, I felt a long-forgotten excitement. Finally, having fulfilled and sigh. I had the chance to prove myself. Finally, having fulfilled, I could walk the path that was meant for me. Jason. Sophia. Wait and see. Soon, when on a low sigh, you'll realize just how foolish your decision to let me go was. My days intern at the Quinn Family Group became the most fulfilling time of my university years. Quinn assigned me a mentor. Roderick, the company's technical director. A highly skilled tech expert in his 40s. Lillian, I heard you taught yourself? Roderick looked surprised when he saw my resume. Yes, heading full Silva and Sesh. I started teaching myself in my first year. To get to this level. That's not easy. He nodded. But what you learn in school is very different from what you do in real projects. You need to be mentally prepared. I replied earnestly. I will do my best. The first task assigned to me by Roderick was to optimize the company's internal data management system. This system had been running for 3 years. And with the increase in data, its speed had slowed down significantly. Several interns had tried before, but none of them had managed to solve the problem. Roderick told me, give it a try. It's okay if it doesn't work out. I spent 3 days analyzing the system architecture and discovered the problem was with the database index design. The original designer had taken shortcuts, using full table scans for many queries, which became slow as the data volume grew. I redesigned the indexing strategy and optimized several key queries. After the changes, the system's performance improved by 80. When Roderick saw the test results, his eyes widened in surprise. Lillian, are you sure you're a student from the normal university? I smiled. Yes, good and fulfill Wansai. I am. Then your school's computer science department must be amazing, right? I didn't explain. Simply saying, maybe I have a natural talent for it. This quickly made its way to Quinn. That afternoon, he called me into his office. I heard you solved the performance issue with the data management system? Yes. I just made some small optimizations. Quinn looked at me with an emotion I couldn't quite read in his eyes. Lillian, do you know how many people have tried to solve this problem before? I shook my head. 7 people, including the senior engineers we poached from Tingshua. His voice was soft. And in 3 days, you did what they couldn't do in 3 months. I felt a little embarrassed. Maybe it's just because I had a fresh perspective. No. He said. It's talent. Quinn stood up and looked at me seriously. True talent. He walked up to me, gazing directly into my eyes. Lillian. You should be shining on a much bigger stage. Shouldn't you? My heart skipped a beat. This man always seemed to see right through me. President Quinn. I've told you before. I won't force you to reveal the truth. He said as he returned to his seat. But I hope you understand one thing. What's that? Real gold will shine. No matter where it's buried. His voice was firm. And those who try to hide it will only make themselves look dimmer. I understood what he meant. He was telling me not to be bound by the shadows of the past. I understand. I said. Good, let out a low sigh. Quinn smiled. Keep up the good work. I'm looking forward to your performance. Over the next few months, I immersed myself completely in work. Quinn continuously assigned me new projects. Each one more challenging than the last. I absorbed knowledge like a sponge. Learning something new every day. Soon, had out a low sigh. I went from being an intern to a full-time employee. And my salary increased to 3 times that of my peers. More importantly, I had found my own value. I was no longer that pitiful girl whose university choice had been changed. I was the youngest senior engineer at Quinn Family Group. In the first semester of my senior year, the school notified me about my graduation project proposal. I hadn't been back to school for a while, and walking through the familiar campus felt like walking into another world. My classmates were all anxious about finding jobs, while I had already secured a formal offer from Quinn Family Group. Lillian, you're back. Sophia, my roommate, greeted me excitedly. I heard you're intern at a big company. How's it going? It's going well, I replied indifferently. Well? It's amazing. Another roommate, Xiao Li, leaned in. I heard from my friend that interns at Quinn Family Group make over 10,000 a month. You must be rolling in money now. Not bad, I replied. Actually, my monthly salary was already 25,000. But I didn't say that. By the way, Sophia whispered mysteriously. Do you remember your ex? Jason? I frowned. What about him? My friend said he's been having a hard time lately. Xiao Li said gleefully. I heard he broke up with that Sophia girl shortly after they started dating. Sophia dumped him because he had no money and ended up with a rich second generation. And then? I asked, my expression unchanged. Then he started asking around about you. He even posted a lot of things on his moments about how he regretted everything. Sophia pulled out her phone. Look, this is a screenshot my friend sent me. I looked at the screen, seeing Jason's post. If I could turn back time, I'd never do those stupid things. Lillian, I really miss you. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I truly regret it. There were many comments below, some comforting him, others scolding him. I read it without feeling anything. Lillian, you're not still thinking about him, are you? Sophia asked, concerned. I shook my head. No. I don't feel anything for him anymore. Good, what out? Xiao Li said, patting my shoulder. That jerk's not worth it. Yes, what out a low sigh. He's not worth it. But this debt. I haven't settled with him yet. The graduation project proposal was approved smoothly. The topic I chose was design of a personalized learning system based on artificial intelligence. And my advisor was impressed. Lillian, this is a very forward-thinking topic, the advisor said. With your current level, after graduation, you might want to consider continuing your studies for a master's? I shook my head. Thank you, Professor. But I already have a job lined up. What job? Quinn Family Group. The advisor's eyes widened. Quinn Family Group? That's an industry giant. Yes. Impressive. Lillian, the advisor said. I remember when you first enrolled. I was worried you wouldn't adapt to the normal university curriculum. I didn't expect you to have such talent in computer science. I smiled but didn't say anything. If I had followed my original path, I would probably have graduated from Tsinghua by now, but it's fine. I've created a better path in my own way. In the evening, I walked out of the school gate, ready to return to Quinn Family Group and continue working. At that moment, a familiar figure appeared in front of me. Jason. He had lost a lot of weight. His face was haggard, and his eyes were full of exhaustion. The moment he saw me, his eyes brightened. Lillian. I stopped in my tracks and looked at him coldly. Jason. Are you stalking me? It's not stalking. I just wanted to see you. He took a few steps closer. There's a lot I need to say to you. I don't want to hear it. I turned to walk away. Lillian. Please. Just 5 minutes. Jason grabbed my arm. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I really. Let go. I pulled my arm away from him. Jason. There's nothing left to say between us. There is. There's so much to say. His eyes were red. Lillian. I regret it. I really regret it. I looked at him. The man who had once meant the world to me. Does regret even matter? I know it doesn't. But I still want to say it. Jason's voice trembled. I was really blinded back then. Jason. I interrupted him. What are you regretting? Regretting changing my college application? Or regretting not getting Sophia? He froze. I heard you two broke up. I continued. Sophia left you because you didn't have money. And she's with another man now. So now you're coming back to me because I'm your only option. Right? No. Lillian, Lennon, it's not like that. Jason quickly denied it. I've really realized how important you are to me. Important? I laughed. Jason. If I really mattered to you, you wouldn't have ruined my life for another woman. Jason opened his mouth as if to explain. But I kept going. Do you know what I've been thinking about every day for the past 3 years? What question? I've been wondering what I did wrong that made you think I'm not as good as Sophia. I looked him straight in the eyes. And then I realized. I didn't do anything wrong. The one at fault is you. With your greed and betrayal. Jason's face turned pale. Lillian. And. My voice grew colder. You think that now? After apologizing. I'll forgive you? You think a few words of regret can erase the pain you've caused me? I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But. Then why are you here? Why are you still looking for me? I stared at him. Jason. I'm doing fine now. Better than you can imagine. And you? You just make me remember all the painful memories. I took out my phone and showed him the screen. Jason. Do you know what company this is? He glanced at it. And his pupils constricted. Quinn Family Group. You work at Quinn Family Group? Not just work. I'm their youngest senior engineer. I put my phone away. My monthly salary is 10 times yours. Jason's face grew even more uncomfortable. So, I looked at him. Do you think I need your regret? He stood frozen in place. Speechless. I turned and walked away, heading toward the taxi parked by the side of the road. Before getting into the car, I glanced back at him. Jason let out a low sigh. This is just the beginning. Back at the Quinn Family Group, I went straight to Quinn's office. He was dealing with some paperwork. When he saw me enter, he put down his pen. What's wrong? You don't look too good. I sat down across from him. CEO Quinn. I'd like to apply to participate in next month's Stack Innovation competition. Oh? Quinn leaned back in his chair. What project? An AI educational system. I said firmly. I want to use this project to prove something. Quinn stared at me without speaking. After a long pause, he spoke. What happened? I was surprised. How did you know? Because your expression now is exactly the same as mine 3 years ago. He stood up and walked over to the window. That look of wanting to prove yourself. Wanting certain people to regret their decisions. I fell silent. This man always seemed to be able to read my heart. CEO Quinn. Tell me what happened. He turned around. I've told you before. I won't force you. But if you're willing to talk, I'm willing to listen. I took a deep breath and finally decided to share the secret I had kept for 3 years. My first choice was Tsinghua University's computer science department. But my then boyfriend secretly changed it to Teachers College. Quinn frowned. Why? Because the girl he liked said that if I went to Tsinghua, she would have no chance. My voice was calm, but my hands were trembling. So he changed my application and destroyed my dream. Quinn's face darkened. I met him today. I continued. He came to apologize and said he regretted it. I looked at Quinn. But I don't want his apology. I want to show him what he missed. Quinn was silent for a long time. Lillian, I understand your feelings. He finally said, walking back to his seat. But I have to ask you one thing. What's that? Are you doing this to prove yourself? Or for revenge? I was stunned. This was a question I had never seriously considered. If it's to prove yourself. Quinn's voice softened. Then you've already succeeded. Your achievements now are enough to show how foolish his decision was. But if it's for revenge, he continued, then let me remind you. Revenge is a double-edged sword. While you're hurting others, you may also be hurting yourself. I lowered my head, unsure of what to say. Quinn stood up and walked over to me, gently patting my shoulder. Regardless of your motivation, I support you in entering this competition. I looked up at him. Really? Of course. Because I believe you have the ability to win. And I also want to see what kind of fool would make the decision to change someone's application like that. I couldn't help but laugh. Thank you, CEO Quinn. Don't thank me. Quinn smiled. Thank your own efforts. He returned to his seat. Now, let's talk about your project plan. In the following month, I dedicated almost all my time to the project development. The AI educational system was a complex project, involving machine learning, natural language processing, data mining, and several other fields. I worked 16 hours a day, not even resting on weekends. Quinn provided me with the best hardware and a top-tier technical support team. Lillian, you're pushing yourself too hard. Can your body handle this? Roderick, seeing my bloodshot eyes, looked concerned. I'm fine, Roderick. I kept typing. Time is limited. I have to hurry. But, Roderick, do you trust me? I stopped working and looked at him. Of course. I do. Then let me finish this project in my own way. Roderick sighed but said nothing more. 2 weeks later, the core functions of the system were nearly complete. I tested the system with a few colleagues' children, and the results were excellent. The system could tailor personalized learning plans for each student based on their learning habits and ability levels. Moreover, it could monitor progress in real time and adjust teaching strategies accordingly. That's amazing. One colleague, who saw the demo, kept praising it. If this system is implemented, it could completely revolutionize the traditional education model. I felt proud inside but kept my demeanor calm on the outside. There are still some details that need refinement, I said. A week before the competition, I received an unexpected call. It was from Jason. I hesitated for a moment but still answered. Lillian, I saw the news. Are you participating in the tech innovation competition? His voice sounded excited. Yes. That's amazing. I knew you'd make it. Lillian, and I'm so proud of you. I coldly replied. Jason, you don't have the right to be proud of me. There was silence on the other end. I know I don't have the right. But I still want to say it. Jason's voice was choked with emotion. Lillian, I really regret it. If only you hadn't changed my university choice. I might be a graduate student at Tingshuo by now. I interrupted him. There's no such thing as if. Lillian. Jason. I'm warning you for the last time. My voice turned cold. Don't disturb my life again. I hung up and blocked his number. On the day of the competition, Quinn personally drove me to the venue. Are you nervous? He asked. No, I'm confident in my project. I replied, looking out the window. Good. Quinn stopped the car. Lillian. No matter the outcome, you're already the best. I nodded, grabbed my backpack containing my laptop, and got out of the car. The venue was filled with top competitors from all over the country. Most of them graduate or doctoral students from prestigious universities. As an undergraduate from a normal university, I felt quite out of place among them. The draw for the order of presentations placed me 15th. The competitors before me were all outstanding, and their projects were full of creativity. But I wasn't nervous. Because I knew my project was the best. Finally, handing fulfilled my it was my turn. I walked up to the stage, connected my equipment, and began my presentation. Good afternoon, judges and fellow students. Today, I am presenting a project called Personalized Learning System based on artificial intelligence. My voice was clear and confident. The traditional education model uses a one-size-fits-all approach, which cannot meet the individual needs of every student. My system uses machine learning algorithms to analyze student learning behavior data and tailor learning plans for each student. The presentation went smoothly, and the audience listened intently. When I demonstrated the system's actual performance, gasps of awe filled the room. The system adjusts the difficulty of questions in real time based on students' answers. If they answer correctly in a row, the system increases the difficulty. If they answer incorrectly, it lowers the difficulty and provides targeted explanations. I operated the system, demonstrating its various features. More importantly, the system records students' learning progress, analyzes their weak areas, and provides personalized review suggestions. The judges nodded frequently. Some even began taking notes. When the presentation ended, the judges started asking questions. Could you explain the principles behind your algorithm? We mainly used recurrent neural networks from deep learning, combined with attention mechanisms and memory networks. I answered each question professionally and thoroughly. The last judge asked, "Which school are you from?" "Normal University." I replied calmly. There was an immediate murmur of surprise from the room. "Normal University? Are you from the computer science department?" "No. I'm from the elementary education department." The surprise was even greater now. A student from the elementary education department created such a high-level AI project? I looked out at the stunned expressions in the audience, a sense of satisfaction rising within me. Yes, this is the student from Normal University whom you all looked down on. This is the girl whose university choice was changed. I proved with my actions that real talent cannot be hidden. The results of the competition would be announced in 3 days. But I already had a sense of the outcome. From the judges' reactions and the audience's feedback, I knew my project had captured the most attention. Back at the company, Quinn was waiting for me. "How did it go?" "It went smoothly." I sat down, feeling a little tired. "There shouldn't be any problems." I knew it. Quinn poured me a cup of coffee. "I watched your presentation live online." "You watched?" I was a little surprised. "Of course. One of our Quinn family group employees was competing. I even recorded the screen to send to those who doubted you." I couldn't help but laugh. "President Quinn, are you trying to stand up for me?" "Sort of." Quinn's expression turned serious. "Lillian, do you know? Watching your performance today reminded me of when I first started my business." "When you started your business?" "Yes, I headed down a low sigh. When I was 25, leading a small team, and almost everyone doubted us." Quinn looked out the window. "I had investors tell me to my face that someone like me, without any background, would never achieve anything." I listened quietly. "But now, those who once looked down on me are all lining up to work with me." He turned and looked at me. "Sometimes, the best revenge is simply becoming stronger." "President Quinn. Lillian, I hope you understand one thing." His voice was gentle. "Your worth doesn't need to be proven by anyone. Not even by those who have hurt you." I nodded, feeling warmth spread through me. This man always gave me the comfort I needed at the most critical moments. 3 days later, the results were announced. I had won the championship. When the news broke, the entire Normal University erupted in excitement. The principal personally called to congratulate me and said he would honor me at the school-wide assembly. Major media outlets began to focus on the genius girl from Normal University. More importantly, my project caught the attention of several investment firms. Some were willing to pay $10 million for the copyright of my system. When Quinn shared the news with me, I was completely stunned. $10 million? Yes. And there are other companies in talks too. Quinn looked at me. "Lillian, you're about to make a fortune." I sat in the chair, silent for a long time. From a poor girl whose application was changed, to now a rising star in tech, it all felt like a dream. "CEO Quinn, if it weren't for your help, I wouldn't be here today. I looked at him. I want to share the profits of this project with the company. Quinn shook his head. This is your work. The profits are yours. Of course. But, Lillian, remember one thing. He interrupted me. Never underestimate your own value. This project was completed by you alone. And the success is yours to claim. That evening, I received numerous congratulatory calls. High school classmates, college roommates, and even some long-lost friends called to congratulate me. Among them was Jason. I hesitated for a moment but decided to answer. Lillian, why? Congratulations. His voice was excited. I saw the news online. You're incredible. I didn't say anything. Lillian, I knew you'd succeed. Jason continued. You've always been the smartest. Jason. I interrupted him. Do you think congratulating me now means anything? There was silence on the other end. I don't want your congratulations. What I want is an apology. My voice was cold. A real apology. Lillian. Do you know? I went on. A reporter asked me today why I chose Teachers College. Why? His voice was soft. I want to tell the world that it's because I was betrayed by the one person I trusted the most. Jason's breathing quickened. But I didn't say. Do you know why? Why? His voice was barely a whisper. Because I don't want others to know that I was blind enough to love such a despicable person. I ended the call without waiting for his response. The next day, I received a package at the company. It was from Jason. Inside was a thick letter and a bank card. I opened the letter and saw Jason's neat handwriting. Lillian. When I saw the news of you winning the competition, I cried the whole night. Not because I was sad, but because I was happy. I'm so proud of you. Even though I know I don't have the right to say that. I know nothing I say can undo my mistakes. But I still want to try to explain what happened back then. I was too young. Too foolish. And Sophia's few words clouded my judgment. I thought if I changed your application, we could be in the same city. Always together. I never imagined that it would have such a huge impact on your life. I never imagined I would lose the best girl in the world. Lillian. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I still want to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for changing your application. For betraying your trust. For wasting your youth. The card had 500 yuan in it. All the money I had saved over the years. I know this amount isn't much to you now. But it's the only compensation I can offer. I don't ask for your forgiveness. I only hope you live well and achieve all your dreams. If you can, please forget about me. Pretend I never existed in your life. Jason. After reading the letter, I felt nothing. Not even anger. I threw the letter and the card into the trash. 500,000? Did he think money could buy my forgiveness? Did he think one letter could erase the pain I had endured for the past 3 years? How naive. Real hurt cannot be mended with money or apologies. But this only solidified one thing for me. Jason did regret it. He was paying the price for his choices. And that was enough for me. I didn't need his apology or his compensation. I just needed him to know what kind of girl he had missed. And now, he knew. A month after winning, my life changed dramatically. The copyright for the AI educational system was sold for 18 million. And I became a millionaire overnight. More importantly, I received an invitation from a top tech company in Silicon Valley. Lillian. We would really like you to consider joining us. The China director personally called me. The salary package will definitely not disappoint you. How much is the annual salary? I asked directly. $1 million before tax. I gasped. $1 million a year? That was a number I had never even dared to dream of. I need some time to think about it. Of course. You have a week to decide. I hung up the phone and sat in my office. Stunned. $1 million a year. It meant I could lead a top-tier life in the US. But it also meant I would have to leave Quinn. Leave the Quinn family group. Just thinking about it made me feel a little reluctant. At that moment, Quinn knocked and entered. I heard Silicon Valley offered you a sky salary? I nodded. How did you know? Just a guess. Quinn sat down across from me. With your current fame, it would be strange if they didn't try to poach you. CEO Quinn. Are you going? He asked. I looked at him, unsure how to answer. Lillian. I won't stop you from making your choice. Quinn's voice was calm. 1 million a year is indeed tempting. But what? I gathered my courage. But I can't bear to leave you. Quinn froze for a moment. Then smiled. Can't bear to leave me? Or can't bear to leave Quinn Family Group? Both. I said honestly. CEO Quinn. You gave me the opportunity to start over. To find my own value. Lillian. You need to understand something. Quinn looked at me. Your value was never given by me. It's something you created yourself. I know. But. No buts. He stood up. Lillian. I hope you can think rationally about this opportunity. Silicon Valley is the center of global tech innovation. There. You'll learn more and see a wider world. I looked at him, feeling conflicted. And you? What will happen to the company if I leave? The company will run just fine without anyone. Quinn smiled. Including me. But. Lillian. Promise me one thing. His expression turned serious. Don't let anyone or anything limit your development. Not even me. That night. I stayed home thinking for a long time. Rationally. Silicon Valley was the right choice. It offered a better platform, a higher salary, and greater space for growth. But emotionally, I truly didn't want to leave Quinn. For the past 3 years, he had been more than just my boss. He had been like a mentor and a friend. In my hardest times, he had given me support and opportunities. More importantly, I had a sense that Quinn's feelings for me went beyond just professional concern. Although he had never expressed it, I could feel it. The way he looked at me, the way he cared for me. It went beyond the typical boss-employee relationship. And I, too, had special feelings for him. It was a complicated feeling: gratitude, dependence, and some things I didn't dare to think too deeply about. The next day, Emmy's day, I went to Quinn's office to see him. CEO Quinn. I've made up my mind. Oh? He put down the document in his hand. Are you going to Silicon Valley? I shook my head. No. Quinn furrowed his brows. Why not? Because I believe the Quinn Family Group is a better fit for me. I looked at him. And I have many ideas I'd like to bring to life. And I need your support. Lillian. Are you sure this is a rational decision? Of course. I smiled. President Quinn. Don't you want me to stay? Quinn looked at me. His eyes holding an expression I couldn't read. I certainly want you to stay, he said. But more than that, I want you to make the best choice for yourself. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. Quinn was silent for a moment before nodding. All right then. Since you've decided to stay, let's talk about your new position. New position? Vice President of Technology. With an annual salary of 500. 0 and 5 equity in the company. I widened my eyes. President Quinn. This. What's the matter? Is it too little? Quinn smiled. All right. How about an annual salary of 800? 0 and 10 equity? It's not that it's too little. It's too much. I said excitedly. I'm only 24. Becoming vice president, won't that be too fast? In the tech industry, age is never the issue. Quinn looked at me. Ability is the only standard. I was thrilled beyond measure. Vice President of Technology. This meant I would become part of the core management of the company. 10 equity, based on the current valuation of the Quinn Family Group, would be worth at least 200 million. A 24-year-old billionaire, something I had never dared to even imagine before. President Quinn. Thank you for your trust. No need to thank me. You've earned it. Quinn stood up. Lillian. I believe you can lead the technology team even further. I also stood up, wanting to say something, when suddenly Quinn stepped closer to me. Lillian. I want to ask you a question. What question? Are you really staying because the Quinn Family Group is a better fit for you? He was very close now, and I could smell the faint scent of his cologne. My heart skipped a beat. Or is there another reason? His voice was soft. I looked into his eyes and suddenly understood something. President Quinn. I know I shouldn't be saying this. Quinn's voice trembled. As your boss, I shouldn't have these thoughts. What thoughts? I asked. pretending not to know. I like you. He finally said. From the moment I interviewed you, I knew I liked you. My heart nearly stopped. These were the words I had longed for, and never dared to confirm. President Quinn. I know this is inappropriate, he said. After all, I'm your boss. And I'm 4 years older than you. Quinn looked at me. But I don't want to hide this anymore. I stared at him, this successful businessman. The CEO who commanded the business world who, at this moment, seemed like a nervous young man. President Quinn. Actually, you don't have to answer me right away. He interrupted me. I just want you to know how I feel. Actually, before I could finish my sentence, the office door suddenly opened. Quinn's assistant, Xiao Wang, rushed in. President Quinn. It's bad. There are reporters downstairs who want to interview Lillian. Quinn and I quickly stepped apart, acting as if nothing had happened. What reporters? Quinn asked. They said they want to do a special report on a life of reversal. Xiao Wang glanced at me. They've already contacted Lillian's ex-boyfriend. My expression changed in an instant. Jason? What do they want with Jason? Quinn and I rushed downstairs, where we saw several reporters waiting in the lobby. One of the female reporters saw me and immediately came over. Hello. You must be Miss Lillian, right? I'm Miss Yuki from the Urban Channel. It's a pleasure to meet you. Hello. I responded politely. Lillian, we'd like to do a special report on your story. The rise of a former normal university student to a tech star. Miss Yuki took out a recorder. Do you have time for an interview? I glanced at Quinn, and he gave a slight nod. Sure. But I'd like to know more about the specifics of the interview. Of course. Miss Yuki smiled brightly. We've already done quite a bit of background research. And we've interviewed some of your classmates and friends. My heart tightened. What classmates and friends? Well, your high school classmate, Mr. Jason, Miss Yuki said. He shared many stories about you. My fists involuntarily clenched. Jason? What are you up to now? What did he say? I asked, forcing myself to stay calm. He said you were always a genius. Very ambitious. Miss Yuki flipped through her notes. He also said you two were very good friends, filling out college entrance applications together and encouraging each other. Friends? Encouraging each other? Was Jason trying to redeem himself? Journalist Jang. I'd like to clarify something. I looked at her. I can't guarantee everything Jason said is true. Oh? Why do you say that? Miss Yuki's eyes lit up, sensing a juicy story. Quinn cleared his throat from the side, reminding me to watch my words. I took a deep breath. Because some things might not be as objective as the person involved believes. Could you tell us the truth then? Miss Yuki pressed. I was about to decide whether to tell the whole truth when my phone suddenly rang. It was Jason. I looked at Quinn, who gestured for me to pick up. Hello? Lillian. Where are you? Reporters are looking for me. And I'm worried they might. May what? I asked coldly. May they find out what good things you've done? Lillian. I haven't said anything I shouldn't. Jason quickly explained. I just mentioned a few things from your childhood. All positive. Then why did you agree to the interview? I thought it would help you. Help me? I couldn't help but laugh. Jason. Do you think I need your help now? There was silence on the other end. Lillian. I know I don't have the right. But I just wanted. Wanted what? Wanted to redeem yourself? Wanted everyone to think we're still friends? My voice grew colder. Jason, you're so naive. No. That's not it. Then what do you want? Jason was silent for a long time before saying. I just want everyone to know how amazing you are. My excellence doesn't need you to prove it. I said, hanging up the phone. Zhang Wen was listening intently, clearly sensing something. Lillian. It sounds like you and Mr. Jason's relationship. It doesn't matter. I interrupted her. Zhang let out a low sigh. If your report is based on Jason's version, I decline the interview. Why? Miss Yuki seemed even more excited. Is there some conflict between you and him? Quinn spoke up at that moment. Zhang. Lillian is now our company's vice president of technology and is very busy. If you'd like an interview, please schedule an appointment in advance, and we'll arrange a suitable time. CEO Quinn. Let's end it here for today, Quinn said firmly, his tone leaving no room for disagreement. Zhang Wen glanced at me, then at Quinn, and realized the interview wouldn't happen today. All right. We'll contact you another day, she said, putting away her recorder. But Lillian, as a journalist, my professional instinct tells me that you and Mr. Jason have a story. I looked at her coldly. Some stories aren't for everyone to know. After the reporters left, Quinn and I returned to the office. Are you okay? Quinn asked with concern. I'm fine. I sat down, feeling a little exhausted. I just didn't expect Jason to do this. His interview probably wasn't meant with malice. Quinn analyzed. He probably just wanted to help you. Help me? I let out a bitter laugh. CEO Quinn. You don't understand Jason. Everything he does is for himself. What do you mean? I took a deep breath, deciding to tell Quinn the truth. Jason accepted the interview to make others think we're still friends. That way, he could ride on my popularity and make himself famous. Quinn furrowed his brows. What benefit would that bring him? His career isn't going well right now. If he's packaged as the childhood friend of a tech star, many opportunities would come his way. I sneered. That's Jason for you, always calculating his own benefit. If that's the case, then it's really despicable. Quinn's face darkened. Should I have someone warn him? I shook my head. No, that would just complicate things. Then how do you plan to handle it? I thought for a moment. I'll clarify the truth myself. Clarify what? Clarify the real relationship between Jason and me. Clarify why I ended up at teachers' college. I looked at Quinn. It's time to let everyone know the truth. Quinn nodded. I support your decision. That evening, I posted a long message on Weibo. Recently, some media wanted to report on my comeback story and interviewed some so-called friends. I feel the need to clarify some facts. First, my first choice in the college entrance exam was Tingshui University's Computer Science Department, not Teachers College. The reason I ended up at Teachers College was because someone secretly changed my application without my knowledge. That person was Jason, my ex-boyfriend, the childhood friend the media interviewed. He destroyed my dream of attending university for another girl. Finally, having fulfilled I want to say that my achievements today have nothing to do with anyone else. I've proved through my own efforts that even in the wrong place, gold will still shine. As for those who are trying to ride on my coattails, please have some self-awareness. The post quickly went viral. Within an hour, the number of shares had surpassed 100, and the comments exploded. My God. There's such a scumbag. He actually changed someone else's application. What a trash. Miss Lillian is so inspiring, she can succeed despite everything. Is Jason not ashamed of himself? Let's do a public search for Jason. Soon, the topic Jason changed application trended on Weibo. Netizens began digging up Jason's personal details, his photos, school, session, workplace, and even his social media accounts, which were flooded with insults. Scumbag. Trash uru and someone's future. How can this guy even call himself Lillian's childhood friend? Scumbag. Get off the planet. I watched these comments, feeling mixed emotions. Is this really the result I wanted? To have Jason verbally abused by the entire internet? To have his life completely disrupted? My phone kept ringing, with media calls requesting further interviews. I declined them all. I had said everything I needed to say. Let the facts speak for themselves. 3 days after the Weibo post, things developed beyond my expectations. The company Jason worked for couldn't withstand the public pressure and fired him. His social media accounts were shut down, and even his phone number was changed. A reporter found his parents, who tearfully apologized on camera, saying they had failed in raising their son. Seeing this, I felt strangely uncomfortable. I had only wanted to clarify the facts, but I didn't expect it to cause such a huge stir. Do you regret it? Quinn sat across from me, offering me a cup of tea. No, not regretful. Just, it feels a bit much. I took the teacup. I didn't expect the reaction to be this intense. This is the nature of the internet age. Quinn said. News spreads fast, and emotions get amplified. Did I do something wrong? I looked at him. Did I go too far? Lillian. You need to understand something. Quinn's voice softened. You only told the truth. The one at fault is Jason. Not you. But what? Quinn's tone grew stricter. Did you think he deserves your pity? When he changed your application, did he think about how pitiful you would feel? I fell silent. Yes, Jason had never considered my feelings. If I hadn't fought for myself, I might still be muddling through life at teacher's college. You're right. I nodded. I was too soft-hearted. Lillian. Kindness is a good thing. But it can't be without principles. Quinn looked at me. For those who have hurt you, you don't owe them any mercy. Just then, let out a well sigh. My phone rang. It was an unknown number. I hesitated for a moment but still answered. Hello? Lillian. It's me, having fulfilled my obsession. Jason's voice came through, sounding worn out. I frowned. How did you get my number? I asked someone for it. Jason's voice trembled. Lillian. Please. I beg you. Can you stop the online attacks? Please tell them to leave me alone. I didn't attack you. I just told the truth. I know it's all my fault. Jason cried. But now, I'm really at the end of my rope. I've lost my job. My friends are ignoring me. And even my parents are. So what? I interrupted him. Jason, what a low sigh. Did you ever think about how I felt when you changed my application? Did you ever think that if I hadn't fought for myself, I might be stuck as a primary school teacher for the rest of my life? My voice grew colder. Did you ever think about how you ruined my whole life? Jason cried even harder. I know I was wrong. I really do. Lillian. I'll do anything to make it up to you. Please. Forgive me. Anything? I sneered. Then give me back my dingshua. I can't. He stammered. Exactly. My voice was calm. Jason. Some wounds can't be healed. Some mistakes can't be forgiven. Lillian. Please. I really have no other way out. I looked at Quinn. He shook his head. Jason, low sigh. This is the consequence you must bear. I said. When you made that decision, you should have thought about today. But. No buts. I was ready to hang up. Jason, low sigh. Don't contact me again. Lillian. Wait. Jason quickly called out. I'll tell you a secret. About Sophia. My hand froze my drawer. What secret? Sophia. She never liked me. Jason's voice was low. She just wanted to drive a wedge between us because she was jealous of your success. I scoffed. What secret is that? I already knew. You knew? Jason sounded surprised. Of course I knew. Sophia's intentions were obvious to me from the start. I said. I just didn't think you were so foolish. Getting fooled by her words. Jason fell silent. So, not only did you betray our relationship, but you were also used by someone else. I continued. Jason. Don't you think that's pathetic? Before he could finish, I hung up the phone. And then, I blocked his number. What did he say? Quinn asked. Nothing meaningful. I shook my head. He just wanted me to forgive him. Your attitude is very clear. And that's good. Quinn nodded approvingly. Some people aren't worth forgiving. I nodded but felt a bit conflicted inside. After all, Jason had been a part of my life for 18 years. We had grown up together. And it would be impossible to say I felt nothing for him. But betrayal is still betrayal. And hurt is still hurt. Those things don't just fade away with time. A week later, the heat surrounding Jace and I down. People's attention shifted to other matters. And Jason disappeared from the public eye. I thought that was the end of it. But a month later, I received unexpected news. Jason had committed suicide. A high school classmate told me. Lillian. Have you heard? Jason. Jason jumped off a building. My classmate cried over the phone. My hand went numb as I gripped the phone. When did this happen? Last night. He jumped off the roof of their building. My classmate continued sobbing. He left a suicide note saying he was sorry. That he felt he had ruined you. My mind went blank. Jason is dead? Lillian, are you still there? My classmate asked. Why, yeah. I'm here. I struggled to make my voice sound normal. Then, what about his funeral? Tomorrow afternoon. At the city morgue. My classmate said. Lillian, will you go? I stayed silent for a long time. I'll think about it. I hung up the phone and collapsed into the chair. Jason was dead. Because of online bullying. Because he lost everything. And because of me. Although I knew his death wasn't entirely my fault, the role I played made me feel deeply guilty. Had I been too harsh? Should I have given him a chance? If I had forgiven him back then, would this tragedy have been avoided? Just then, Quinn entered the office. Seeing my expression, he immediately realized something was wrong. What happened? I looked at him, and tears suddenly started to fall. President Quinn. Jason. He's dead. At Jason's funeral. I stood at the back, far away from the black coffin. His parents were crying inconsolably. And his friends had red eyes. I didn't go up to the coffin. Nor did I lay any flowers. I just stood there quietly. With a complex, indescribable feeling in my heart. Lillian. A voice called from behind me. I turned and saw Sophia. She had come to the funeral, dressed in a black dress, with a sorrowful expression on her face. Sophia. I responded coldly. I didn't expect things to turn out this way. Sophia walked up to me. Jason. He really loved you. I scoffed. Loved me? If he really loved me, he wouldn't have done what he did. But, Sophia. I turned to face her. Don't you think you're also responsible? If you hadn't sowed discord between us, Jason wouldn't have done something so stupid. Sophia's face turned pale. I didn't sow discord. I just what? I pressed. Just told him that if I went to Tingsua, there'd be no chance for you too. Sophia, do you think I don't know what you were up to? Sophia lowered her head, unable to speak. You were jealous of my achievements. Jealous of how Jason treated me. And you wanted to ruin our relationship. I continued. Now you got what you wanted. Jason is dead. And I'm suffering. Are you happy now? I didn't want this result. Sophia started crying. I really didn't think it would end up like this. Didn't think what? My voice was cold. Sophia. Remember. Jason's death. You have a part in it. With that, I turned and left the funeral home. I didn't want to see anyone or anything connected to this tragedy. On the doctor home, I kept thinking about Jason's last phone call. He said Sophia didn't like him. That she only wanted to drive a wedge between us. He said he regretted it. That he would do anything to make up for it. He said he had nowhere else to turn. If I had listened to him more that day, would the outcome have been different? If I had chosen to forgive him, would he have chosen death? These thoughts kept whirling in my mind, tormenting me. When I got home, I locked myself in my room and stayed there for 3 days. Quinn called me countless times, but I didn't answer. On the 4th day, he came straight to my house. Lillian, open the door. He called from outside. I ignored him. If you don't open the door, I'll just wait here. I knew Quinn meant what he said, so I had no choice but to open the door. When he saw me, Quinn frowned. You haven't eaten anything these past few days? I hadn't eaten much. And I had lost weight. I'm not hungry. I turned and walked toward the living room. Quinn followed and closed the door behind him. Lillian. I know what you're thinking. He sat across from me. But I need to tell you. Jason's death is not your fault. If I had forgiven him. If you had forgiven him. He might have continued doing things that would hurt you. Quinn interrupted. Lillian. You can't let one person's death make you question all the decisions you've made up until now. I looked at him. Tears starting to fall again. But I feel so much pain. I feel like I indirectly killed him. You didn't kill anyone. Quinn stood up and walked over to me. Lillian. Jason chose to take his own life because he couldn't handle the consequences of his actions. Not because you didn't forgive him. But. No, buts. Quinn said, kneeling down to take my hand. Lillian. You need to understand something, everyone is responsible for their own actions. Jason made mistakes. And now he must face the consequences. This is not your fault. I looked at Quinn. This man who had always supported and understood me. CEO Quinn. I'm really confused. I don't know what to do. I admitted. Then don't think about anything. Take a few days to rest. Quinn gently stroked my hair. When you figured things out, come back to work. But the company has me. You don't need to worry. He looked me in the eyes. Lillian, promise me you won't let this destroy you. I nodded, though my heart still ached. The next month was spent adjusting my mindset. I saw a therapist and read a lot of books about life and forgiveness. Gradually, I began to understand that Quinn was right. Jason's death was indeed a tragedy. But it wasn't my doing. I had merely spoken the truth, exercised my right. He couldn't handle the consequences and chose an extreme way out. That was his choice. Not mine. I shouldn't bear the responsibility for it. Nor should I let it destroy my life. A month later, I returned to the Quinn family group. How are you feeling? Quinn asked kindly when he saw me. Much better. I smiled. Thank you for taking care of me during this time. No need to thank me. It's what I should do. Quinn looked at me, his expression serious. Lillian, there's something I want to ask you. What is it? Do you remember the topic we were interrupted on last time? He asked, his voice softer. My face flushed. He was asking about his confession to me. I remember. So, what's your answer? Quinn stepped closer, his eyes intense. Lillian, I want to know how you feel about me. I looked at him, the man who had given me a second chance at life. The one who had supported me in my hardest times. CEO Quinn. Call me Quinn. He interrupted me. Quinn. I took a deep breath. I like you too. Quinn's eyes lit up. Really? Really? I nodded. I've liked you for a long time. But I wasn't sure. Quinn excitedly pulled me into his arms. Lillian. I've been waiting for those words for so long. I hugged him back, feeling the warmth of his body. At that moment, I finally understood what real love was. True love isn't about possession or control, but about support and understanding. It's not about satisfying your own desires at the expense of the other person, but about striving for their happiness. Jason had never given me that kind of love. But Quinn had. Quinn, when? Thank you. I whispered in his ear. Thank me for what? Thank you for making me believe in love again. Quinn pulled away and looked into my eyes. Lillian. I promise. I will never hurt you. I nodded, my heart full of happiness. Yes, the pain of the past had passed. Jason's betrayal. The storm of online abuse. Even his death, they had all become history. I wouldn't forget those experiences. Because they made me grow. Made me stronger. But I wouldn't be bound by them. And I wouldn't let them stop me from pursuing happiness. Now, I had a successful career. Someone who loved me. And a bright future ahead. This was the best kind of revenge. And the best kind of redemption. 6 months later, Quinn and I got married. At the wedding, I wore a pure white gown. My face radiating with happiness. The girl whose college application had been changed was now a rising star in the tech industry. The wife of a billionaire. As for those who had hurt me, some were dead. Others spent their lives in regret. This was fate. And a result of choices made. When the pastor asked if I would take Quinn as my husband, I said loudly, I do. Yes, heading for Silwed session. I do. I do want to spend the rest of my life with this man who truly loves me. I do want to leave the pain of the past behind. I do want to embrace happiness with the rest of my life. Because I've learned one important thing. The best revenge is living better than those who hurt you. The best forgiveness is forgiving yourself. The best life is living for yourself. Thorne brought a freshman girl to my birthday party. He said it was to make her give up. When she drew a punishment card that required kissing someone of the opposite sex for 3 minutes. Thorne crushed the wine glass in his hand, his bloodshot eyes fixed on the two who had paused. Go on. What are you looking at me for? When you proposed to me. Amid the teasing and cheers. She was the only one who kept her head down, shoving cake into her mouth, completely ignoring the fact that she was allergic to mango. Before the ring could be slipped on, Thorn pushed me away in panic and rushed over to hold her, afraid she'd bite her tongue. His hand, usually fastidious and germophobe, went into her mouth. Easy now. If it hurts, just bite me. An hour later, I got a message from him apologizing. If this had been before, I would have stormed into the hospital and dragged him away from her. But this time, I calmly replied with just 3 words. It's okay. Before I received Thorn's apology, I got a call from my mother. Serenade. I'm asking you one last time, are you going to study abroad or not? My mother's voice on the other end cracked from anger. This is the 10th time. What excuse do you have this time? Mom, I rasped. I'll go. I'll come be with you. Her fury instantly vanished, replaced with joy. I've already looked into the schools. I'm sure you'll get in. Perhaps sensing my hesitation, she sighed gently. Sweetheart, I know you don't want to leave Thorn. But once you finish your degree, if you want to come back, I won't stop you. I stared at the ring box in my hand and softly agreed. After the call, I looked at the sorry message again. My chest tight, and as the scene in the private room replayed over in my head. Get out of the way. Thorn, cut into Feldleib Sashen. The ambulance is already on the way. Do you have to embarrass me right now? I blocked Thorn's path. Leela gasped for air and whimpered. Senior. Help me. Serenade. I used to think you were just spoiled. I didn't realize you could be this vicious. Thorn looked at me with disappointment, tossed the ring between his fingers carelessly, and shoved me to the ground. Glass shards from a broken wine bottle pierced my palm, and blood flowed with the spilled liquid. Stunned friends rushed to help me and asked the wait staff for a first aid kit. I gripped my hand, strangely numb to the pain, my eyes fixed on Thorn, who was sweating and panicked. He was carefully retrieving the unswallowed cake from Leela's mouth using his hands. He had severe germophobia. Once, heading to felt my obsession. After I ate durian and tried to kiss him, he lost his temper and ignored me for a week. 3 years of dating, and he had never once compromised for me. But for Leela, whom he'd only known for 3 months, he made an exception. After replying to him calmly, I opened the study abroad documents my mom sent me. It wasn't until Thorn walked in with a grim face and asked why I wasn't answering his calls that I pulled my phone out from between the sofa cushions and saw multiple missed calls. He noticed the bandage on my hand and hesitated for a moment before hugging me. Why aren't you wearing the ring? He saw the ring box on the table, opened it, and tried to put the engagement ring on me. I pulled my hand back. Thorn, are you really sincere about this engagement? His tone turned cold. Serenade. That's enough. You wanted a surprise, didn't you? I gave it to you. Leela saw me propose to you with her own eyes. What more do you want? Thorn was arrogant and aloof. I had pursued him for a year before we got together. For the past month, my mom had been pushing me to prepare for going abroad, but I kept stalling. I couldn't bear to leave Thorn. So before my birthday, I had been hinting at wanting to get married. When he showed up at the party with Leela, he still had a smile on his face. But the moment he saw me, his usual indifference returned. When Leela was kissing someone else during the game, he didn't even blink, just down to drinks. But when the guy held Leela closer and tried to use his tongue, Thorn crushed the wine glass and suddenly proposed to me. I had kept my eyes on Thorn the whole time. I knew he had never looked away from Leela. If you don't like it, I'll get a new pair tomorrow. Thorn shoved the ring box back in his pocket. His phone rang. Instead of the usual classical tune, the ringtone was Pleasant Goat and Big Big Wolf's theme song. He quickly put it on silent, looking awkward. She was scared of the IV'd rep and made me change it. I'll switch it back later, he mumbled. I nodded inferiorly. He'd always been the quiet one. I did most of the talking, even during arguments. If he extended an olive branch, I'd be the first to yield. But now, after an awkward silence, Thorn stood for a moment, then said, I'm going back to the dorm. I had rented a place near the campus. Thorn occasionally stayed over. It was already 11 p.m. The campus gates were closed. I hailed a cab and followed him to the hospital. He first bought a bowl of congee, took a call at the hospital entrance, and came back. Then he entered a flower shop. The owner followed him enthusiastically. "Buying flowers for your girlfriend?" Thorne smiled helplessly. "She's in the hospital, throwing a tantrum. I need to cheer her up." I stood outside the shop and watched him carefully picking flowers one by one. He walked past me with a huge bouquet in his arms without recognizing me. My face was pale behind the mask. Stiff-legged. I followed just a few meters behind as he walked, typing on his phone. There were no extra beds at the hospital. Leela was getting an IV in the hallway. When she saw Thorne, she started sobbing. "I thought you'd leave me again." "I won't leave until you're better," he said, stroking her head. He placed the flowers in her water cup and cooled the congee with gentle breaths before feeding her. When we first started dating, Thorne told me he wasn't a patient person. I'd learned that the hard way. He would comfort me when I was upset but never for more than 10 sentences. He looked after me when I was sick but never stayed overnight in a hospital. He said the beds were uncomfortable. He never showed affection in public. He hated feeling watched. Now, in a crowded hallway, he let Leela rest her head on his lap and whispered, "Sleep. I'll stay with you." Leela fidgeted and reached into his pocket. She found the ring box and exclaimed, "Serenade didn't accept your proposal?" Thorne hesitated. His brows furrowed just like every time someone mentioned me. "She didn't like that ring. I'll get a new one tomorrow." Get her a new one? So this proposal meant no more than any other holiday gesture to him. Leela opened the box and put the men's ring on Thorne's finger. He didn't stop her. She sat up and begged softly. "If she doesn't want it, can I have it? I know you won't be with me, but I really like you. Just let me have something to remember you by. Just for tonight, can you be my boyfriend for just one night?" Leela's voice trembled with tears as she clutched the ring tightly. That ring, I had spent half an hour crawling on the floor to find it. And now Thorne was gently putting it on Leela's finger. It was too small, but she didn't care. She lay back in his arms, content, gripping his hand. I called Thorne. Leela saw my name on the screen and stopped him from answering. "You're mine tonight. I don't want her taking your time." Thorne hesitated, then obeyed her. "Asleep." I kept calling. Stubbornly. Thorne held his phone in one hand. The other interlocked with Leela's as she took a photo. His patience wore thin. "Serenade. Where's your decency?" Then he blocked me. I sent one last message, "Let's break up." A red exclamation mark popped up. Message failed. I stood there, knees weak, watching Leela reach up to kiss his chin. I lowered my cap and turned away. After a brief talk with my professor, I rushed to submit my study abroad application before the end of the month. Luckily, my mom had insisted I take the IELTS, and now that my GPA and competition results are all up to par, my chances of getting accepted are very high. As I walked out of the office, Thorne was leaning against the wall, glancing over with an indifferent look. "What did you talk to the professor about?" We hadn't been in touch for days. I froze for a moment when I saw him, then remembered our phones could share locations. That had been my birthday wish last year, so I could find him quickly when we were fighting. "I forgot to hand in an assignment," I said, making something up. "That night. Did you go to the hospital?" He narrowed his eyes at me. I clenched my fists, stopped checking my phone and started tracking me. "Huh? Serenade. You've really outdone yourself. Did you see the message I sent you?" I cut him off. The wind in the hallway blew my loose hair back. Thorne stepped in front of me, shielding me from the wind, but a strong rose fragrance hit my nose. "Ever since Leela showed up, do you know how many times you've tried to break up with me? And who always comes crawling back begging to make up? Aren't you tired, Serenade? Anything else?" "What?" He was caught off guard by my reaction. "If you're here again just to blame me because of Leela, I don't want to hear it. I've got things to do. And this time, I mean it. I want to break up." Thorne grabbed my wrist to stop me from leaving. "What things do you have to do? All you ever do is revolve around me." He didn't take the breakup seriously at all because he was convinced I wouldn't actually leave. Just as I was about to argue back, he casually took a ring from his pocket and slipped it on my finger. It was a little big. We locked eyes. And Thorn held my hand. It's cold in winter. By summer, it'll fit just right. If I hadn't seen him put a ring on Leela's finger that night and mutter, "Too small," I might have believed he'd thought it through so carefully. Nothing happened between me and her that night. If you hadn't ordered the mango cake, none of this would have happened. Thorn was trying to explain for once. I didn't hear a word. I was just staring at the men's ring on his hand. He paused mid-sentence, moved to my other side, and switched hands to hold mine. I ran out of money. I'll replace it next month. Thorn had been running a startup with friends for a year now, earning tens of thousands a month. Even his excuses were lazy. I smiled faintly, pulled my hand back, and shoved it into my pocket. Got it. Thorn only believed what he saw. When he realizes he can't find me anymore, he'll know I won't come back. Watching his empty palm, Thorn frowned. By the time he looked up again, I had already walked far away. Downstairs, Leela came running over when she saw Thorn. But when she noticed me beside him, her smile froze for a moment. "Senior, thank you for staying with me that night. You even caught a cold because of it." She handed cold medicine to Thorn. After he took it, she nervously pulled out a red string. "Senior, I made this myself." Thorn gripped my hand tighter and refused her. "No need. And don't come looking for me anymore." His cold tone made Leela lower her head even more. I suddenly remembered when Thorn first mentioned Leela. He looked both confused and mocking. How can a girl be so sloppy? Her socks had holes, and she still wore them. During a club activity, Thorn had accidentally stepped on Leela's shoe and noticed the hole in her sock. The second time he brought her up, there was more sympathy. She's from a mountain village, with 2 younger brothers. It wasn't easy for her to get into college. So I accompanied him to pick out a perfume as an apology gift. He took it very seriously. I couldn't help comparing it to when he gave me a watch for my birthday. I never wore watches. And I'd told him not to get me one again. The third time he mentioned her, we had a fight. Everyone knew Leela had a crush on Thorn. I snapped and mocked her. Just because she's poor, does that mean she has the right to steal someone else's boyfriend? Thorn was furious. Serenade. Leela is hardworking and ambitious. You barely got into college. Who are you to judge her? Pulling myself out of those memories, I realized Thorn had already led me far away. I turned back. Leela stood there with teary eyes, looking so pitiful. She suddenly caught up and stuffed the red string into my hand. "Senior, thank you for inviting me to your birthday party that day." "Thorn's cast-offs? I didn't want them." I pulled my hand back, and the red string fell to the ground. "It's not worth much. But I spent 3 days and nights making it. If you don't like it, fine. But why insult me like this?" Leela wiped her tears and was about to squat down when Thorn grabbed her, suppressing pressure in the air. "You just love humiliating people, don't you, Serenade?" he accused. I stared at Thorn in disbelief. He was busy picking up the red string, trying awkwardly to wear it himself but failed. Leela smiled and helped him. He stiffly said, "I'll take it. But don't do this again." Then he even apologized on my behalf. Serenade has that rich girl temper. Don't mind her. Leela shook her head. I won't blame her. Their rings clinked as they made contact. They smiled at each other. Leela shyly scratched his palm. I clenched my fists. After a while, I no longer felt the urge to argue. When I left, Thorn didn't notice. If he had just looked up, he would have seen me tossing the ring he gave me into the trash can. Come home with me over the break. Senior year had fewer classes. I'd already taken my last exam. Thorn still had one more the next day. He never contacted me, unless I did first. Maybe he sensed something was off, because the day I finished my exam, he came to my place and cooked a meal. "Come meet my parents." After my parents divorced, my mom went abroad. Now she's doing well there and wants me to join her. When she found out I was in a relationship, she didn't stop me, but she was very firm about the study abroad plan. This break, knees break, I promised to visit her. By the time break ends, I'll probably get my admission results. I'd done a research project. Nearly completed my thesis unless necessary. I wouldn't return except to defend it. I didn't respond to Thorn. Over the past 3 years, I brought up going home with him many times. He always coldly rejected me and left me alone in my apartment. There was one time he flew to see me and stayed for a week, knowing how reserved he is. I thought that was already a big step, but we spent the whole week in bed. He didn't come to see me, he came to satisfy his desires. I remembered this and felt my eyes sting. Thorn scoffed. Serenade. Have some dignity. I looked at him and gave a faint smile. He got flustered. What's with you lately? Why won't you talk to me? Weren't you like this with me before? My tone was calm, and even my smile seemed perfect. Thorn was speechless and pretended to check his phone. Whatever the other person said, it made him relax immediately. Then he grabbed his coat. Wait for me at the apartment tomorrow. I'll come after my exam. There is no tomorrow. Thorn. I watched his back and sighed in relief. I booked the earliest flight and, before boarding, sent Thorn one final message. Let's break up. Thorn. I'm serious. He saw it before his exam and ignored it, but when he found the apartment empty, he panicked. He called again and again, but I never picked up. That was when he finally understood how I used to feel. The person who picked me up wasn't my mom. Seeing the handsome man, I felt a bit uneasy. He cheerfully took my suitcase. I'm Atlas, Serenade's mom's assistant. I'd heard about him. My mom hired him because he's Chinese and she's homesick. Atlas was warm and friendly. After we got in the car, he even leaned over to buckle my seatbelt. As we drove, he kept introducing the sights and cracking jokes. Eventually, I relaxed. When he found out I danced, he praised me without holding back. No wonder your posture's so graceful. I heard you even won a national first prize. Serenade. I've seen your dance videos. You're amazing. He looked at me seriously. You're really outstanding. My heart softened for a moment. I'd studied traditional dance since I was little, then picked up ballroom and jazz. In my sophomore year, I partnered with a guy from my club and won first prize. I had looked excitedly into the audience, but Thorn was already gone. I don't like the way you wiggle on stage, he once said. I still remember Thorn's comment. And I remember how he looked at Leela during a debate. Serenade. She's amazing. At the company, Atlas stopped me from taking my suitcase. I'll drive you to back later. I nodded absently. My mom really was stingy, not even willing to pay for a driver. But when I teased her about being cheap, she squinted and said, I didn't pay him to be a driver. Atlas didn't seem embarrassed at all after being exposed. He just laughed heartily. My mom sighed. What a pity. A pity for what? I originally hired this guy hoping he'd become my son-in-law. You have no idea how many girls in the company have their eyes on him. She rubbed my face. I show him your photos and videos every day. I finally managed to get him interested. And then you told me you had a boyfriend. Hearing that I was in a relationship, Atlas, who had been pouring water, paused. When he looked up at me, there was a trace of disappointment in his eyes. Maybe because I'd just promised to go to a ball with him. To be honest, Atlas's personality really clicked with mine. Around him, I didn't have to be as cautious and restrained as I was with Thorn. We shared similar interests and both had lively personalities. Even if we weren't lovers, I didn't want to lose him as a friend. I quickly explained. Mom, I've broken up with him. Broken up? My mom practically jumped with excitement. Good for you. I never met your ex. But my cheerful, adorable baby turned so dull and lifeless after falling in love. Once I called you and heard his voice in the background. I wanted to say a few words to him. But even though you covered the mic, I still heard him say, don't be greedy. I'm not ready to meet the parents. My mom stood up and paced around. Then pulled Atlas in front of me. I've had my eye on this boy for 2 years. Serenade. Your own mother picked him, there's no way he's the wrong choice. She could be really careless. But I didn't expect her to be so open about it. My face flushed with embarrassment. Fortunately, having fulfilled someone came to call her away for a meeting. Before leaving, she placed Atlas's hand into mine. Atlas. I'm entrusting my daughter to you. Take good care of her this break. Atlas looked at me with a smile. Yes, ma'am. My mom left with an approving grin. I pulled my hand back. Sorry. That's just how my mom is. Don't take it seriously. He leaned down and tucked the glass of water into my hand. Too late. I already did. Serenade. What should we do now? Being with Atlas was genuinely joyful. My mom had tasked him with showing me around, and every morning, he would arrive half an hour early to wait for me outside. The first time we ate together, he noticed I didn't eat scallions and carefully picked them all out of my bowl. Knowing I loved dancing, he took me to different dance events and introduced me to like-minded people. Since I couldn't get used to Western food, he studied recipes and cooked for me at my place. The first day I arrived abroad, I still thought of Thorn. But just a week later, when I heard his voice again, I felt nothing but irritation. Why did we break up? Same cold tone as always. I hung up. He called again from a different number. Serenade. Where are you? I hung up again. After that, my phone went silent. That was the extent of Thorn's patience. Atlas and I had made plans to attend a fashion show. I'd done my makeup and changed into an off-shoulder dress. He messaged Dee that he'd be another 10 minutes. So to save time, I told him to park outside the complex. He sent me a selfie dressed in a suit and bout eye, looking even more handsome. As a thank you, can you send me one too? Several times Atlas had raised his phone to take selfies with me, and I had dodged each time. Back when I eagerly asked Thorn to take my photos, he always said I didn't look good on camera. Eventually, I stopped liking photos altogether. I smiled, and just as I raised my phone, a pair of hands suddenly grabbed me and dragged me to the wall. My arms were pinned above my head. His body pressed against my back, a palm locking onto my waist, keeping me from moving. Memories I'd forced myself to forget broke free from their cage. I began to tremble uncontrollably. Help him, MBH. He covered my mouth, kissing the back of my neck. His hand on my waist grew more invasive. In my desperation, I almost bit through my tongue. Then he suddenly pushed his fingers into my mouth. Serenade. It's me. Hearing that familiar voice, my tears burst out. I bit down hard on Thorn's fingers, tasting blood, and refused to let go. He knew exactly how much I'd suffered back then. To forget it all, I'd forced myself to take sleeping pills every night just so I wouldn't think. I turned around and slapped him across the face. Thorn's head snapped to the side. He didn't care. He simply wiped the blood from his hand and pulled me into his arms. Feel better now? Not long after I rented my place, I was followed by someone. Same pose. Same movements. The difference? Thorn had been the one who saved me. He'd smashed a brick on the man's head and got detained for 15 days. Why? I didn't understand. Did Thorn hate me that much? Thorn wiped